Welcome to the Millennial Life Coaches podcast. At MLC, our mission is simple: add value to help you take on massive action towards your life goals. Here, we feature amazing coaches from all over the world, share compelling stories, and discuss proven practices to help keep your energy high and in the flow. Learn more about MLC at millenniallifecoaches.com.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of How to Get Ahead with Millennial Life Coaches. I am your host, Tanya, and today I am joined by Andrea. Now, Andrea is fantastic health and wellness coach. She works a lot with more of holistic approaches when she's taking a look at like nutrition, sustainable habits, and even faith-based interactions. So I'm super excited to have you on the show today, my dear. Welcome, and thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat.
Love it. So let's just dive in with the big question. Health and wellness coach. Does this mean, what do you specialize in? Tell me all about it.
Yeah, so actually, I have a background as a physician assistant. So I have been working in actual medicine for 13 years. And throughout that time, I worked a lot with patients who are sick, obviously, and seeing kind of the long-term consequences of things that I knew were kind of reversible or preventable with like wellness, lifestyle changes. A lot of the, diet and exercise are things that sound too good to be true. But I kept seeing people over and over again where I'm like, oh man, like if we could just rewind or, start at a different spot. And so I actually left medicine for the most part. And now I'm doing health and wellness coaching where I focus on really helping people with those foundational habits to really make an impact to hopefully prevent long-term diseases, or at least if they have something, a chronic disease or something that happens later, their body is more able to support it. So that's where my passion lies. And that's kind of how I got to where I am.
I love that. So with what you were seeing and kind of moving away from that medicine, do you feel like a lot of people are looking for more of those quick fixes, or is it more people are realizing now that it's not necessarily the quick fix that is sustainable?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think obviously quick wins are always, who doesn't want to do something better, faster, all of
Fair.
that. But I think what I see a lot is people who've done all those quick fixes and then they're like, but that was too hard. That wasn't sustainable. I like sugar. I don't want to miss out on pizza night with my family. So none of that was staying sustainable, basically.
Yeah, okay. So say I'm one of those people. I love the quick win because this is true. I so do. The quicker the win I can get, the faster I will do it. But I know that I need to make some changes. What kind of things do you walk people through to kind of get started throughout this journey with you?
Yeah, so that's actually one of my favorite things to do is I find out what people's non-negotiables are because I know from firsthand experience, I'm a mom, I have 4 little kids. Like if you're going to tell me to cut out something that I love, I'm not going to do it. But to get a quick win, I like to kind of figure out how people are eating. And a lot of what I do is to kind of just rewire some of those habits, rewire the way that we're the things that we're reaching for. And one of my most foundational things I start with is just helping people stabilize their body with a more nutritious breakfast. Everybody rolls their eyes. They're like, okay, breakfast, the most important meal of the day. Got it. But it is amazing when we just make that one change, people do get the quick wins. I just had a client I started working with a few weeks ago who lost 6 pounds in 1 week. Literally, all we did was change her breakfast routine. I was like,
That's incredible.
yeah. And I told her before, because our brains like to sabotage us. They're like, oh, it's too easy. It's not going to work. And I told her, I'm like, your brain's going to say this is too easy. Let's just try it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Nothing, doesn't work. And it usually does.
So what kind of things do you suggest for breakfast without taking away from like actually the coaching program itself, just for our listeners out there that are maybe like, I often fast in the mornings and maybe I shouldn't do that.
Yeah. So I do think there's a place for fasting, especially if you do it the right way. That's a whole nother tangent. I can go on fasting with women. I mostly work with women. So I wouldn't tell somebody who's intentionally intermittent fasting to not to, or to stop fasting to eat breakfast. I more so see breakfast as your first meal of the day. So whenever that is, so if you do continue your intermittent fasting, that's fine. But the first meal of the day, if you really just load it up with protein, fiber, and healthy fat and have that be the foundation, that is what sets people up for having less cravings in the evenings or feeling less out of control around food later. So honestly, I don't even mind giving it away for free because it's just so foundational and so helpful. And a lot of times though, it's not just knowing what to do. And this is kind of where I come in with the health coaching is I can tell people what to do all day, but it's having somebody to kind of help you walk through that. And what does that actually look like? Or, I woke up and I'm running late and I don't know what to grab. And so I really work with people to just set themselves up for success, have these 5 things on hand so you never have to worry or wonder what to do and kind of stuff like that. So I think it's the motivation and the accountability is a lot more of what I do than the actual secrets. I tell everybody there's a million ways to lose weight. They all work, but it's what's going to work for you and what's going to be sustainable.
I love that.
Hello and good afternoon. It's your Free Spirit Yogi Moni here from the Free Spirit Yogi community. Just popping in to say hello and how much I love Millennial Life Coaches. I've been a member of their platform now, for quite a few years, and I can't say enough good things about being part of their community and the support that they give when you are trying to get yourself out there as a new coach. Definitely say give them a try, check them out. You won't be disappointed. All right, see you on the other side. Bye.
Oh, okay. I like the motivation and the accountability because I feel like in this realm or in this area of like health, that seems to be the piece that like you said, we can find 100 videos on YouTube that can tell us what to eat. But if I don't have that personal accountability or someone to help me, it becomes more of a challenge.
Yeah.
How have you found it as people coming through their experiences post having this accountability and after?
So I found a lot of times people think in the beginning. So I mostly work with people in 12-week increments, and they're like, what do I do after? That's not enough time. I don't know what to do. So that's what I spend most of the time doing is I'm there. We do the accountability. We do everything together, but I'm also teaching them how to maintain that when I'm not there. So some people will get to the end of the 12 weeks and be like, I'm good. And I'm like, that's actually, my husband jokes like, oh, way to have job security. Like you like cut people loose. But I'm like, no, I want them to be able to go on their own and to do sustainable things that actually work in the long term when I'm not there. So we do spend a lot of time talking about like why we do the things we do and how to make our habits work better for us and things like that, so that they're also not just relying on me. Because as much as I would love for people to just keep working with me, that's not the ultimate goal. I want people to learn and to understand and to be empowered to continue their changes going forward. And I'm really, like I said, I'm not big on restriction. So they will be able to go to a social situation and decide ahead of time what they're going to do or what they're going to or not going to eat. And even if they can't text me or talk to me at the time, like they know kind of by the end of 12 weeks, pretty much they know what I'm going to say. So they can keep that going in the back of their mind too.
So it's like having an Andrea in your back pocket.
Yes,
I like it.
Exactly.
What do you think is a popular health trend right now that is potentially not helping people?
Okay, so this one is a little controversial, and especially with my background in medicine, but I'm not throwing shade on it entirely. I'll say it and then I can explain.
Okay.
I have a lot of thoughts on the GLP-1s, and I'm not against them. So a lot of people either like love it or hate it. I am not against it. I'm against doing them without the lifestyle changes, because I think if you go into it with the mindset, it's just like we talked about in the beginning, the quick fix where you can literally take a pill or take a shot and then do whatever you want and you're just going to lose weight and it's going to be awesome. what are you going to do when that support's not there?
Yeah.
And that is the thing that I think is so frustrating, is that people get this, they get some good momentum, but they're not making the right changes, or they're not learning how to nourish their bodies alongside that medicine. So then when it's gone, we're rebounding, we're gaining back weight, which is mostly fat, not muscle. And the whole Pandora's box. But my biggest thing, if anyone listening is on those or considering them, like, please just also learn the foundational principles of how to take care of your body and to nourish your body, so that you don't, if you're not on them anymore, or when you're not on them, you'll still be healthy.
I love that. And that's such good advice, because I see so many benefits in them. And then
Yeah.
you see people who are just relying on them versus taking active steps at the same time. So I love
Yeah.
that you brought that up.
Yeah. And I feel like in the health and wellness space, especially for the holistic space, a lot of it can be like demonizing that as well. And I'm not about that either. I really, truly think that you can find what works for you, and there's just, better ways to go about it. And I'm not against the quick fix, but I always like to pair a quick fix with a long-term habit or a sustainable practice too.
Okay, so say I'm out there and I'm listening and I'm kind of feeling a little stuck or kind of discouraged in my journey right now. What's one thing you'd want me to hear?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say, honestly, it's not all on your shoulders. It's not all you, and it's not, whatever's happened in the past doesn't define how your weight loss journey is going to go, or your health journey, whatever sort of thing you're working through. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves, especially as women, especially as moms. It's everything relies on us. Everyone in the house, every decision all day, everything's us. And so a lot of women internalize past failures, or even, oh, I just don't have enough willpower, or I'm so busy, I have to put the kids first. And, by the time it's me time, I'm too tired, XYZ. And I think just, it's not all on you, and it doesn't all have to be on you. And if you have had experiences in the past and things didn't work, just try something new, just try something different. And don't constantly get stuck in that cycle of blaming yourself for what's happened before, or telling yourself lies. Honestly, we tell ourselves like, I'm terrible at this. I always fail. I never stick to it. And when we say, I always tell my kids, I'm like, would you say that to your friend? You wouldn't say any of these things to somebody you know. Don't say that to yourself. Like, stop being so mean to yourself. So that's what I would tell you.
I love that, because you're right. Like, we are our biggest bullies. And when we take a step back and we're like, would I talk to my best friend like that?
Yeah.
We wouldn't, but yet we shame ourselves and beat ourselves up all the time. And especially in this area as women. And moms, not being one, I can't relate to it, but I can imagine that pressure feels so much more immense. Because you do work with a lot of moms, how do you find that shift in that mindset around taking care of myself and modeling that relationship with my food and my body for my kids?
Yeah. So that's the one thing, is 100% of moms, and honestly, just people in general, but 100% of the moms tell me like, I'm too busy. Now's not a good time. I'll start when, summer comes, when the kids are in school, when soccer season's over, when all these things. And I always just tell people, like, spoiler alert, there's not going to be a time where life slows down. So now is the time. It's not going to be perfect. And that's what I help people through. Like, we don't have to do things perfectly. You just have to get started. And when you quote unquote like mess up, you just keep going. You don't start over. So I'm really big on not starting over on Monday kind of thing. And that mindset shift, I think, really helps. So we didn't mess up, and we didn't beat ourselves up, and we don't have to start over and all this. We're just like, okay, this happened and I'm going to keep going. Or what's my next step? And so that's really one of the most helpful things, is getting away from that all or nothing mindset and giving yourself grace, because we're so hard on ourselves, and that is it just can't be overstated.
Hey there, listeners. This episode of How to Get Ahead with Millennial Life Coaches is proudly sponsored by CoachCore.
CoachCore is an all-in-one platform built specifically for coaches by coaches. We get it. Running a coaching business can feel overwhelming. with all the tech, marketing, and administrative work involved. That's why we created Coach Core, to take the stress out of those details and help you focus on what truly matters, your clients and the transformation you provide.
Exactly. Whether you're managing your calendar, tracking your client's progress, or assessing a comprehensive library of resources, Coach Core is designed to streamline your operations. Our platform automates the technical side of things so you can spend more time doing what you love, coaching and creating an impact.
And we know that coaches come in all shapes and sizes with different needs. That's why Coach Core is customizable, so it grows with you. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you're scaling your business. Our platform supports every step of the way.
So if you're a coach who's ready to simplify your tech, save time and money, and grow your business, Coach Core is here for you. We believe that coaches should be empowered with the right tools to build a sustainable, thriving practice. So why not take a moment and check us out?
So visit us at coachcore.ca to learn more and start your journey toward business growth and tech freedom. And trust us, you don't want to miss the difference Coach Core can make in your coaching practice.
Thanks for tuning in to Millennial Life Coaches podcast. Let's get back to the episode.
Okay, you brought up like two things that I really want to hit on. First, because like I love this. First, how do you find, like, especially when it comes to the kids, some of your clients, the people who've worked with you have seen within the kids when they're not dealing with this all or nothing mindset, and it's not a start over, it's not a mess up. Have they like expressed ways in which that's kind of like changed the family life?
Yeah. So also that just reminded me, as I was talking, I forgot to circle back to the part about modeling for your kids. But that is one of the things that, once we kind of repair our relationship with food and not make certain foods like good foods and bad foods, that stuff rubs off on our kids in a positive way. And so that's one of the things, it's just so, I think a lot of us, especially millennials, we kind of grew up in diet culture or on the fringes of like our parents were always on a diet or trying to, Atkins or South, whatever. There was always something. And that's how we grew up. And so a lot of us have really messed up relationship with food. When we fix that and when we talk about, instead of that all or nothing, success or failure, when we talk that way with our kids, first, they learn not to demonize certain foods. And then second, they also don't get trapped in that all or nothing mindset. So a lot of times I find with my clients, it's not so much with the kids and food, because I don't think the kids really have developed that much of a relationship with food yet, besides like hopelessly being addicted to sugar like mine are. But besides that, but I think it's just in general of once we start talking to ourselves with more kindness and being more gentle on ourselves, we're also then modeling that for our kids, and then they learn that. So for a quick example, my 6-year-old really loves to draw. He's so hard on himself when he messes up and he wants to throw the paper away and it's all ruined. So that the stuff that I coach my clients on, I've been working with him on as well. So even though it's not with food, I do a lot of mindset work. I know I'm a weight loss coach, I do nutrition and stuff, but really it's mostly mindset.
The mind. It's true. Like as someone like you said, we've been through diet culture. Like I used to have the worst relationship with food, and it was all that mental blocks. And I still feel them flaring up at times because it is the mindset behind it that actually changes our physical appearance.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So from someone who hates that she's about to admit this, but is going to say it publicly, is very much the all or nothing mindset. What advice do you have for our listeners who might be, say, like me?
Yeah, well, if it helps, I think a lot of us in this generation are like that. Like we're high achievers. So it's not just you. I just want to put that out there. Everyone listening, it feels like it's just you. It's not just you. I would honestly just say to just acknowledge or just start noticing that, because a lot of times, especially when it comes to things that we don't think about every day, like food, we're not necessarily like aware that we have that all or nothing mindset. And we're not a lot of times aware of how we talk to ourselves. So like we were saying before, we have this running tape in our head all day. You're terrible. You're a bad mom. You're a bad this. You're awful at that. You never follow through. That's what we're hearing all day long. So obviously it affects our mood. It affects how we interact. It affects how we eat. But I would just say for people that struggle with that is to just start noticing, just to start to notice the things you're saying to yourself. And then part two, once you start noticing, I want you to just challenge that and just ask yourself, is that true? Just doing that little pause, and then, is that true? And most of the time it's not. And then once you get used to that, then you can actually take a step back and start to think of, like, analyze what you're thinking about. I'm probably a little more nerdy than most. Like, I'm like, ooh, let me analyze my own thoughts on that. But truly taking a pause, bringing some awareness, and then kind of trying to figure out where that's coming from or what you could replace it with some nice self-talk. I will say, just a quick little caveat, just saying like the opposite, our brains don't buy that. Like, they know. I should preface this. I also get super nerdy. I have a degree in brain behavior and cognitive science. So if I get a little too in the weeds, I'm sorry, I can't help it. But like, our brains know when we're like trying to gaslight ourselves. So you can't just go from like, I'm terrible at this to like, I'm the best at this. Because your brain's like, that's also not true. So when we ask like, is it true? I then kind of try to work with yourself until you find a thought that is true, that you can believe, that you can get on board with. So like, let me try to think of one on the fly here. Something like, okay, maybe like, I messed this up. So I'm becoming a woman who makes better choices around food, or I'm becoming, if you kind of throw that in, your brain can be like, okay, that could be true. We can get behind that, versus like, I'm the best at X, Y, and Z, you know?
Yeah, I love that. Let's dive a little bit more into the mindset behind our relationship with food, because I know
Yeah.
a lot of people, we don't go on a diet, or we don't try to lose weight, or we don't try a nutrition plan thinking that it's our mindset that we're actually going to change. How's been your experience when people start having that realization, and like, you're having conversations, like, you need to challenge what's coming up and find a belief that could be true? How has that shifted perspectives? What's been your experience with
Yeah,
people
I
learning
think
that?
once people become aware of it and start to notice it, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I had no idea, you know? And I think it's also, it takes a little while. So when I meet with someone, we're talking about like, what went well last week? This is my favorite example. I always start with that, what went well? And they're like, well, I didn't do this. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Like, what went well? And they're like, oh, well, nothing. And I'm like, is that true? No, it's not true. And so I kind of keep going until we can at least find something that went well. And finally, so in the beginning, it's really hard, because most of my clients are like, nothing, it didn't go well, or I only did it twice instead of 3 times. But then by the end, I don't even have to start with what went well. I'll just be like, hey, how's it going? And they're going in with the positives. And that, I think, is the biggest impact. And it's the thing that you can't tell people up front. So not that I try to hide it, but if I'm like, I'm going to help you lose weight by changing the way you think about food, they're going to be like, pass. I need a diet. I need a medicine. I need something else, you know? So I mean, I guess I'm leading with that here, but in general, I'm not going to sit with someone and be like, you just need a mindset shift. Because it's the same with me, you know, even as a business owner. I didn't go into it like, I'm such a good business owner, I run a business, I can do that. You know, like, I had to work through so much mindset stuff from that aspect. So then I think even sharing those stories with my clients helps them realize, like, you're not alone. You're not the only one. We all do this, whether it's food, whether it's business, whether it's motherhood, like whatever. It's okay. But you can't do something differently unless you're aware of what you're doing in the first place.
So true. I love that. You can't change where you're going if you don't know where you are.
Yes, exactly.
Love it. So for our listeners out there, we've been talking for a bit. Where can they find you?
Yeah, so I am, I'll say, most active in air quotes on Instagram. Honestly, I've been trying to be a little bit more present in my community, just because I get a little doom scrolly sometimes. So you can find me on Instagram. My handle is at fiatwellness.co. And my website is also fiatwellness.co. But then I write a newsletter called the Sparkle with Grace newsletter, and that's on Substack. So if you search just my name, Andrea Frey, on Substack, you can find me there.
Fantastic. And we'll make sure we get all those links and link them in the show notes below, so you'll be able to just click and go.
Thank you.
What is some small step that someone can make or take this week to start feeling better?
Yeah. Trying to think, do I go for a new tip or just reinforce a really important one that we already talked about?
I feel like we've hit on some really big ones so far.
I know, I know. I think going forward this week, I would just say the first one I have to repeat it is start to listen to how you talk to yourself. Just start there, listen, and then take it the next step and try to, if you're super negative, try to find a more positive version that your brain can get on board with. But then from a practical standpoint, I will just echo of setting your day up for success with some good nourishment at your first meal. So whether that's right when you wake up or whether that's a little bit later, just giving your body some protein and some healthy fat and some fiber in the beginning, you're going to feel so much better. I help moms a lot with their energy and digestion as well as weight loss. And like that one shift, that's like I call it the fuel trio because it's like that trio of things is just, it helps on so many levels. It helps with so many symptoms. It does help you lose weight. So start there.
So because I'm hungry, I'm just gonna ask the obvious
Yeah.
question here. What would be like your favorite go-to kind of breakfast if you had to give somebody like an idea where they're like, I think I get it, like I know what a protein is, I think I get the fiber, but what is like a beautiful combination?
Yeah. So I will say I am not a good cook. And if people, and I hate spending time in the kitchen, which is like funny. That's not why I got into this nutrition realm. So, anyway, I preface that because my go to fuel trio breakfasts are kind of boring because, first of all, I get four kids out of the door on the way to school, all the things. So, an easy one that I usually grab a pre-packaged thing of two hard-boiled eggs that has 12 grams of protein. And then I usually grab one or two cheese sticks, like the mozzarella, like the string cheese, because I have kids. And each one of those has 6 grams of protein. So I try to shoot for about 30 grams of protein for breakfast. And then I'm a big Costco person. So I also have chicken breakfast sausage links that I just grab a couple of those. So I try to just use some of those easy things to make, I always focus on the protein first. And then the fiber, I literally just grab an apple. All that stuff I mentioned has fat in it already, like the cheese and the sausage, and even the egg has a little bit. So the fiber, I grab an apple, or I've been really into basil seed pudding, which is the weirdest sounding thing ever.
Sounds
But
delicious.
it's okay. If you haven't heard of basil seeds, they're like the cooler cousin of chia seeds. They taste exactly the same, but they have more fiber and actually a little bit less fat. I don't do like macros or counting or anything, so it's not from that standpoint, but the fiber is the hardest thing to get in, and they have like double the fiber of chia seeds. They taste the same. I get them on Amazon. This is not sponsored, but it should be. It's my new favorite.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay. We do have to kind of get to that point where we have to end the conversation.
Yes.
I always hate this part. What's something that our listeners, you feel like they need to hear? Any final pearls of wisdom that you'd like to share?
Yeah. So one thing I kind of said lightly earlier was about giving yourself grace. And I do work primarily with Christian women. I'm Catholic, so I work a lot with Catholic women too. And I just wanted to mention this part because, like I was saying earlier, we put so much pressure on ourselves, but there's something so freeing about not having it all be about you. So I would just say if this resonates with anyone, and honestly in any faith denomination, but if there's something that you can do, like pair practice with like saying a quick prayer while you're making your breakfast, or when you go for a walk, just kind of meditating or being in nature or something like that, that you can pair alongside your wellness journey. It's just so much easier when everything doesn't rely on you. So that would just be my takeaway, is to just find something that you connect with, that you can integrate into your daily healthy eating, or when you're reaching for something or trying to, avoid a craving or whatever you're doing. Just if you put it a little bit beyond just you, it helps a lot.
Oh, I love that so much. This has been so much fun. This is a topic we could talk about for hours.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been such a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you for having me. It was so nice to sit down and really dive deep into everything.
I love it. Awesome. Well, this has been another episode of How to Get Ahead by Millennial Life Coaches. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one.